And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that, and he was going to usher in a new era of peace. He was going to avoid the Cold War. He was going to end segregation. And they blew his brains out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same. Right now, if you had them prepare themselves in whatever way they would have to prepare themselves to come to battle. And I bet what I have, everything I have, that meatloaf, are there any good? White people in the world, there may be, but it doesn't matter. And why no? Matter how good an individual white person may be, they have an obligation to look out for the best interest of the white. I seen this dude screaming, crying, saying, "You did it right now? I don't want to hear nothing from you self-righteous libs, Democrats. We were coming for you." Knowing damn well the person that did it, y'all know what it is. Betty White. Okay, y'all. We really need to talk about how these Charlie Kirk fans are trying to blame black and brown people for what happened. All because they're not crying over a man who literally said that black people were better off before civil rights because they committed less crimes. Shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes. And the same people who mocked Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, George Floyd, and countless other black people who were killed are now upset at people's reactions to Charlie Kirk. It almost seems like there's a common denominator. Anyway, black celebrities are now weighing in. And while some are trying to be diplomatic, EW, others are not holding back, and they're openly saying they have zero sympathy for Charlie Kirk. 50 Cent dropped a post so reckless he was pressured to delete it. And now some of Charlie's followers are literally threatening his life. Meanwhile, they said nothing about the victims of the Colorado school shooting that happened just hours after Charlie was shot. Amanda Seales also brought this up, and she said straight up that she has no empathy for Charlie. But then you have Dr. Umar stepping in and trying to toe the line and warning black people they shouldn't be celebrating Charlie's death. So what do these reactions really say? Is it just shock value, or does it reveal something deeper about America's divisions? Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly what these celebs said, what they've deleted, and why their words are shaking up the conversation around Charlie Kirk's assassination. Men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch. That's your explanation. But racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years. Black America is worse than it has been. That affected. So the first big name to weigh in was none other than 50 Cent. And in true 50 fashion, he didn't come with some polished statement or condolences. Instead, he dropped a screenshot of the moment Charlie Kirk was shot and wrote in the caption, "Want to know how I feel about this? I don't know. But I do know it's a good time to shut the F up." Now, you already know Charlie Kirk supporters lost their minds and came at 50. They accused him of being heartless, insensitive, and even accused him of celebrating Kirk's death. Comment sections lit up with Kirk's fans saying 50 is over and he needs to be canceled for good. And then some of these people even threatened 50, writing things like, "Hope you're next." And the backlash must have hit because that post didn't last long. And 50 quietly deleted it within hours. But not everybody thought what 50 said was wrong. Many people defended him, pointing out that Charlie Kirk built his brand on minimizing black suffering, spreading racist conspiracy theories, and mocking black victims of police brutality. And they're basically saying, "Don't expect me to feel sorry when this same man never gave any empathy to us." One fan said, "I'm not feeling no sympathy for someone who would call me every slur in the book. Sorry, bookie." And another person wrote, "All this is performative nonsense, but silence is given to parents losing their children to school shootings." Now next up, we got DL Hughley, and you already know he didn't hold back. First, DL shared a video from a TikTok user who pointed out the irony in Charlie saying that it's worth having some shooting victims here and there if it means he can keep his guns. And by the way, this is a direct quote from Charlie. He really did say that gun deaths are worth it. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of unfortunately some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. But DL Hughley didn't stop there. He then shared a video of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson asking members of the U.S. House for prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. And DL wasn't having it because the hypocrisy is insane. He wrote in the caption, "Has Mike Johnson done this for victims of school shootings? Did Mike Johnson do this for Congresswoman Hortman and her husband Mark, who were unalived?" And when news broke that Trump ordered U.S. flags to be flown at half-mast to honor Charlie Kirk, DL went off again saying, "But he ordered the flags that were at half-mast for the Pope to be raised." Again, we haven't lowered flags for innocent children who have been unalive. He didn't order the flags lowered for Congresswoman Hortman. Is it a tragic event? Yes. Does it deserve that ceremony? You know the answer to that. And then DL pointed out another right-wing hypocrisy, pointing out how Charlie Kirk and his supporters claimed that empathy was weakness. But now they're demanding empathy for the same man who said he can't stand the word empathy and thinks it's a made-up term. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up new age term that it does a lot of damage. I have watched any number of people of all kinds of stripes, people, theologians, politicians, people consider themselves activists. All kinds of people on the conservative right talk about empathy, and they talked about empathy as if it was a pariah, empathy as it was a moral failing. And they referred to empathy as a weakness. And it's interesting that they would call themselves Christian and be anti-empathy, because that is a core tenet of Christianity. So that is being a Christian without the empathy is like being a sushi chef without the fish. But empathy is apparently a weakness to a lot of people. And you never know, but I have always believed and hold this now that empathy is quintessentially human. It is the core of humanity. It certainly is the core of Christianity if you call yourself Christ-like. But how is it that you can despise empathy? That you think it is a weakness? That you think that people are susceptible to it, like it's the cold or the flu, and that you despise empathy, but would like it when someone who you love is hurt or killed? We can either decide to be human and empathic, whether we relate to or understand a person or not. But in America, nothing is more American. Nothing is more quintessentially who we are than violence against people we disagree with, and then having a lack of empathy when we don't relate to them, when we don't like them, when they don't look like us. I don't know how you can be a Christian nation and call yourself a Christian nation. Sold the verses of Christianity, but only be empathic when they look at you. That's not Christianity. That's not humanity. That's tribalism. But DL wasn't done yet. He later came back to share this video compilation titled Hate and Bigotry. Charlie Kirk's real legacy. But DL had more in store. He also posted this video of Charlie denying that George Floyd was killed by a cop, and proudly admitted he wanted to get Derek Chauvin released. And finally, DL hinted at the bigger story that's being covered up, and that's the theory that Charlie was taken out by the same people he defended. DL wrote, "I just want to remind everyone that when someone shot Trump, immediately it was the radical leftist and the liberal extremist, and it ended up being someone from his side." DL also added in the caption, "Remember, when you point a finger at someone, there are 3 fingers on that hand pointing back at you." Now let's be clear, DL wasn't cheering anybody on. He was simply dissecting the racial and political optics, pointing out how we treat gun violence differently depending on who's involved. But of course, some fans of Charlie Kirk were furious, and they accused Hughley of deflecting from the tragedy and making excuses for the shooter. On the flip side, plenty of people agreed with him and said these people are trying to find a reason to start a race war, and they're mad that black folks are minding their black business and not taking the bait. But DL Hughley isn't the only one being targeted by Kirk's supporters. Amanda Seales is also getting dragged after she made it clear that she wasn't going to muster any empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. During a live chat that was shared on Instagram, Amanda fired back at people commenting about having empathy for Charlie, and she pointed out that Charlie himself didn't believe in empathy. Amanda then explained that she can't have empathy for someone like Charlie because she cannot be in his shoes, and there's nothing about his existence that she can relate to. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up. And he also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white-on-white violence, he died. Damn, B-Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to. Now, you already know Charlie's fanboys came for Amanda, calling her every name in the book. And it's not just white people. Go on X and you'll see a whole bunch of black men calling Amanda scum, the B word, idiot, sociopath, piece of ish, and every other slur you can think of. Meanwhile, the whites are out here saying that she should be denaturalized and deported and ranting about black fatigue. But despite all the hate, Amanda also had a lot of defenders. And many people again pointed to Charlie Kirk's history of racist anti-black rhetoric, and they're arguing that Amanda wasn't celebrating death at all. She was just refusing to have fake sympathy for someone whose public life caused so much harm and division. One fan commented, "Nowhere in there did she celebrate his death. Nowhere in there did she espouse hate. She said she doesn't have empathy for him." He said empathy is a new age word that is dangerous. He said that himself. So he didn't have empathy and didn't want empathy from others. I'm so tired of this foolishness. Is it sad that he was killed? Yes. Does everyone have to care? No, he spread a lot of actual hate and lies with his rhetoric. But because he's dead now, we are supposed to forget all about that and pretend he was this saint. I think not. I will not celebrate his death, but I will not be mourning either. And that doesn't make me evil or hateful in the slightest. And then someone else wrote, "She's too real." Now I understand why the media is not on her side. The media didn't like Malcolm X too. Until I started to really listen to her, I had no idea what she was really about. Salute to this woman from across the world. She's realer and braver than your fave rapper and your fave rapper's fave rapper. But y'all, we also gotta talk about Dr. Umar Johnson because people thought he was going to have the same reaction as Amanda. But Umar decided to lecture fellow black people over their reactions to Charlie Kirk's death. And he said all the jokes and memes about the assassination crossed a line. Umar shared a statement on his IG that said, "While I did not agree with Mr. Kirk's rhetoric and considered him to be an anti-black bigot, I will never rejoice at the loss of life of anyone who hasn't directly participated in the unaliving of a member of the Black African race. I am ashamed to see members of my community celebrating the situation. I will never ask you to mourn the loss of an enemy of our race, but to celebrate an unaliving is completely unacceptable. We know all too well that the greatest recipients of political assassinations in this country have been our own people. Stop laughing at the misfortunes of others and get prepared. Political assassinations have returned to the United States of America courtesy of the deep state. But Umar's followers were not having it, and they clapped back at Dr. Umar for softening the blow and accused him of moralizing. Someone commented on Umar's post, "I wonder if he would have written this if they shot you." Just a thought. Many folks also pointed out that nobody's celebrating. We're just not mourning. And then another fan went all the way off and wrote 50 lashes for you, Dr. Umar, for posting this. You think any non-black would post something like this for you? Stop giving away your energy to vampires. So yeah, the internet is going completely insane over this, and it looks like the chaos is only going to get worse from here. But here's the dark truth. Whoever was behind this assassination achieved their goal to create even more division. The country is now more divided than ever. And all these reactions show exactly how easily violence can be weaponized to split us. Celebrities, politicians, regular people, everyone has something to say about it. And in the end, the outrage is exactly what the act was designed to provoke. What do you make of these reactions from 50 Umar and others? Are we as a nation even capable of having a conversation about the bigger picture? Or is it too late, and we're too divided at this point to realize that we serve the same puppet masters? Drop your thoughts in the comments, y'all. And I'll catch you in the next video.